俺は忍びだ。
What's up everybody, it's your boy Hokage here, welcome to the video. As you can see, I'm kinda late with this review, so I'm gonna try and be as quick as possible so that I can get into episode 90 review, because I'm pretty sure that most of you are interested in that a bit more than this, because this episode is kinda old at this point. So yeah, I actually have a couple of notes here so that I can be faster, right? So anyway, this episode, I have only one complaint about it, and I want to mention it straight away, and after that I'm gonna get into some of the positive stuff, which is basically everything else. The whole thing with Kirara, Boruto, and Sarada, it did feel like plot armor. Now, I don't like to use this term often because if you think about it, everything is plot armor. I mean, characters get new powers because of plot, right? But specifically, in this case, I want to use this term, and the meaning of it is that basically the writers were kind of lazy in my opinion, and they just, you know, because Boruto and Sarada are main characters, they can't die, right? So they did this whole thing where Kirara didn't kill them immediately. Now the thing is, I actually understand why Kirara wouldn't kill them straight away, because you know she was there, she actually wanted to see them fight against each other. I mean, she was kind of playing around with them. And yes, I can understand that, right? She didn't do it straight away, but the moment she left, she could have just killed him, because, you know, what's the point of Boruto and Sarada fighting if she's not gonna watch, right? So in that sense, I felt like it was the writing at that specific point was kind of lazy. So yeah. But speaking of Boruto and Sarada, like, she literally placed herself under a genjutsu by reflecting like off the sword, and then she freed Boruto. Like, I love Sarada. Like, I know that, you know, recently maybe she isn't getting as much screen time as she used to get before, maybe like 20 episodes ago or something. I don't know. That was just a random number. But still, whenever she's on screen, for the most part, she always does something very significant. And I actually saw like a Twitter debate, I think like a week ago, and basically somebody said that Sarada doesn't do anything, and somebody came with a counter argument listing all the things Sarada did. I could do the same thing right now, but I don't want to waste time on that, because I'm trying to, you know, finish the review of episode 89 as soon as possible, because I actually haven't seen episode 90, believe it or not. I'm actually going to watch it after I film this, and then I'm going to film episode 90 review, and then I'm going to put everything together. Something's going on with my camera as I'm moving my arm, like the light is changing. It doesn't matter. I apologize for that. But yeah, anyway, we got a flashback of, you know, when Onoki gave Ku his name, and Ku basically means empty, and this just shows that Onoki was wrong, and he acknowledged that in this episode when he was reminiscing of all of that. I mean, he thought that these guys can't have their own will, but no, he's wrong, and he acknowledges this, and this is important when it comes to his character development. But the worst thing is that the tragic thing is that his intentions were good. He did it all because of Kozuchi, because of the youth of his village, and he did all of this for the sake of peace. And but he was stubborn. He didn't really consult with anybody. He was kind of closed-minded, and you know, all of this bullcrap happened. So yeah, anyway, a nice character arc for Onoki in this arc, definitely. I wonder if he's gonna stay alive. You know, I wonder if he's gonna survive this arc. But yeah, now one interesting scene that I want to mention, and it's probably my favorite scene of this episode, was when Sekiei was talking to Mitsuki, and he said that he felt pain here when he heard that his comrades died. And you know, the fact that he still doesn't realize is that he has a will, and that heart itself is just an organ. You can actually feel emotions without having like a physical heart. I mean, obviously not in real world, but you know, in anime. I mean, you don't feel emotions through heart in real life. It's just that you can't fucking live without a heart, right? So yeah, I just wanted to bring up this moment, because you guys know that I'm a huge fan of Seikei's character. I think he's written really well. I think he's the best character out of all these Akutas, and I actually think he's the best character of this entire arc. I might be a little bit subjective here because I'm a Seikei fanboy, But that really hit me, that scene. And I think it's kind of obvious that not only Seikei but Kirara as well and everybody else, these Akutas are gonna die by the end of this arc, and it's gonna be very emotional when Seikei dies, if he dies. But then again, I think it's kind of obvious. So yeah, I think Mitsuki gives him a lecture. He says like, the fact that you're gonna get a heart won't make you more human or anything like that, and he's right. Seki was in this episode. Just it just proves that the episode in which he was heavily emphasized by the writers, it just shows that this episode wasn't useless. It was there so that we could create some type of bond with this character, and I'm glad that he's back, and I'm glad that he's gonna be involved within the finale of this arc or whatever. So yeah, and I really enjoyed when he remembered the time where he pretty much said excuses cannot be excused. I mean, he wasn't the one who came up with that quote, but he remembered it. And at first he was scared to interfere with anything, but was his name Akatsuchi? I'm sorry if I'm wrong. It's the big guy. At the end of the day, he decided to go. Seki remembered that moment and he left, and he even mentioned his grandma, I think. And yeah, overall, he appeared for like a brief period in this episode, and I actually really enjoyed the time he spent on screen. Now, the whole thing at the end of the episode, let me get this off my chest. The scene with Konohamaru and Mitsuki, fucking beautiful, very emotional, probably my second favorite moment of this episode. We all remember how Konohamaru reacted when he found out that Mitsuki's father/mother killed Hiruzen, and that was at the start of this arc, and he kind of realized that obviously it's not Mitsuki's fault, and he didn't get too emotional because of it, and he's able to rationally talk to Mitsuki, and he basically told him, just remember, you will always be a part of Team 7. I thought that was beautiful character development for Konohamaru as well. The fact that he went from being completely unstable when he heard about Mitsuki and Orochimaru, and now he's at the second point where he's more mature. So yeah, character development for Konohamaru, and Konohamaru was definitely in need of some character development. So yeah, now that I'm finished talking about that, I can get into the entire plot twist thing. First of all, Ku says to Mitsuki, you can stay with us because you carried on Master's will. I'm actually sad for him as well, because for the longest time he didn't really properly accept Mitsuki, but now that he finally decides to accept him, this shit happens. And it just shows that humans are greedy. Like, this is not connected to the fact that Ku accepted Mitsuki. I'm making a different point right now. What happened in this episode proved that humans by nature are greedy. At one point, as Ku was standing there, obviously he wants to carry on Onoki's will to, the whole thing with the youth protection, right? But then I think he said something like, we will rule our world or something like that, which obviously isn't Onoki's goal. It's not supposed to be Ku's goal, but yeah, humans can get greedy, and that's a fact. So yeah, now as Mitsuki was walking upstairs, Boruto was talking. I mean, they already met in this arc, and Boruto said some things back there, but basically he said, again in this episode, he said, I never understood you, I never really tried to understand you, but it's different now, I want to talk to you or whatever. I thought that moment was great. And he gives Mitsuki a lesson. He basically says, like, you're supposed to protect people, but these guys want to take people's hearts, so none of this is actually good. And, most of us, pretty much everybody from the audience knows this. Mitsuki also knew it. And when he black Zetsu'd Ku, he said, this is my will. He basically probably acknowledged, not probably, but he did acknowledge the fact that what these Akutas are doing isn't good. It happened throughout this arc. And he finally realizes that everything he's doing is his own will. So massive character development / progression for Mitsuki's character, which is something that I'm loving when it comes to this arc. But yeah, looking at my notes, I already mentioned the Konohamaru conversation. I'm wondering what's gonna happen with Onoki. Like, at the end of the episode, he actually fought against these Akutas. He destroyed them. Is he gonna die by the end of this arc? He's like super old. I don't know. If he dies, it's probably gonna be very emotional. But Sekiei, his reaction, I'm so sad for my dude Sekiei. Everything that's been going on with him, like he thought that Mitsuki is his true friend. I mean, he is. It's just that Mitsuki realizes that what Akutas are doing isn't good, and Seikei doesn't. And it's this tragic scenario. Like it's gonna be very sad, definitely in the next episode. I wonder if like obviously there's gonna be a fight, because like there are three more episodes of this arc, episode 90, 91, and 92. And I'm obviously about to watch episode 90, so only two left. And yeah, it's gonna be some fights right now. I wonder, like, is Mitsuki gonna kill Seikei? Is like, I don't know. It's gonna be very emotional. But anyway, and yeah, everybody's freed at the end, including the Tsuchikage. I just wanted to point that out. If it wasn't for the plot armorish part, is that even a word? This episode would be a 10 out of 10, but I can't give it 10. I'm just gonna give it 9.5. It's not a huge problem because technically, yeah, Kirara probably just thought that they were gonna kill each other and she left, but to be more sure, she should have killed them. So I'm just gonna give it 9.5. I thought that was too convenient, that part of the episode. Anyway, I'm gonna start watching episode 90 after I finish recording this. I'm gonna review it, put everything together, and upload it to YouTube. So see you in my Boruto episode 90 review. Alright, I'm the same as Matthew. I was definitely not crying. Was just sweating through my tears. Tears? What the fuck is a tear? Was just... Oh my god. I was just sweating through my eyes. Guys, this episode, like, holy fuck. It was a masterpiece. And, officially, Seikei is one of my all-time favorite Naruto characters, right? Not only Boruto, I'm including the entire Naruto series, the Naruto franchise in general. So yeah, anyway, let's get into the review. This episode was beautiful. This arc is coming to an end, and the next two episodes, which will be the final two episodes of this arc, are probably also going to be on a different level compared to some regular episodes. And obviously, the Naruto Shinden novel adaptation starts in episode 93. But anyway, this episode I thought was pretty much perfect. So first of all, we had a fight between Seikei and Mitsuki, and like obviously, you guys know me, I don't give a fuck about the fight itself. The only thing I cared about was their dialogue, what they were saying to each other, and their interactions. And I must say that I got really emotional there at the end when Seikei was dying. I thought it was super sad. Seikei is a wonderfully written character, and this tragedy of Seikei and of all of these Akutas, all of that was just written really, really well throughout this arc. And the fact that we had so many episodes, to spend time with these characters, that fact made me care about Seikei this much, and he's legitimately one of my all-time favorite Naruto characters. And yeah, I want to bring up something that won't take away any points off of this episode. Like, obviously, I'm gonna give it a 10 out of 10. I just thought it was wonderful, but this is something that is subjective, right? What I'm about to say didn't have to happen. It's not the fact that it didn't happen doesn't mean that it's a bad episode. It's just that I personally would have preferred to see this. If you guys remember in Boruto episode 80, which is one of my favorite episodes of this arc, by the way, Seikei asked Mitsuki, "Have you ever cried before?" And he proceeds to ask him, "Would you cry if I die?" And Mitsuki pretty much says, "I'm not sure. I don't know." And after that, Seikei asks, "Would you cry if Boruto dies?" And Mitsuki doesn't reply to this. He pretty much says that Boruto is like his son or whatever. Now, this scene, when Seikei was dying, it was already such a good scene. One of my favorite moments in all of Boruto, sorry. But why didn't they have Mitsuki cry? Like, I get it. You could explain that despite the fact that he's friends with Seikei, still, considering the fact that he's a synthetic human being, that he had a very unique upbringing, he still couldn't legitimately cry for Seikei. But I feel like in terms of writing, this would have been so fucking good. I feel like it's such a huge missed opportunity. Just imagine, everything stays the same. They're talking, Seikei is getting emotional, but the only difference is that all of a sudden, the camera zooms in on Seikei's face and we see a tear here on his face, and then it switches back to Mitsuki and we see Mitsuki crying. It was already emotional. It already brought tears to my face, but it would have been just even better. Again, this isn't a bad aspect of the episode because it just shows us that Mitsuki could only realistically cry for Boruto, which is a part of his character. I've talked about their sun-moon relationship, how, when Mitsuki took that scroll from Logan and Orochimaru, the first thing he saw was Boruto. Boruto was his only hope, his son, and I get all of that, but I just personally preferred, I would have preferred if he cried. Like, I want to add something. Like, I like Mitsuki, he's one of my favorite Boruto characters, but had he cried, I would have liked him even more. This doesn't make me hate Mitsuki's character or anything like that. I'm not even saying that he's a bad character. In fact, I already said in this video that this explains that he could pretty much only cry for Boruto, right? But all of that is okay. But subjectively, I like Mitsuki less than I did before, if you get what I mean. Please don't get this the wrong way. I still really enjoy Mitsuki's character. I think he's a very unique character, one of the most unique characters in all of Naruto, especially when it comes to main characters. But I just, why didn't he cry? It would have been so much better. Just because, like, even if Seikei didn't ask him about, him crying, I would still say the same thing, like, why didn't he cry? But the fact that Seikei 10 episodes ago said, would you cry if I die? And we see Mitsuki not really knowing what to say. He says, I'm not sure. And I'm just so sad. Such a fucking missed opportunity. A huge missed opportunity. But okay. I don't know what's going on with my camera. But once again, I'm not going to take away from this episode because we just got to know Mitsuki's character even more. Now, the fact is, he does care for Seikei, but not to that extent. Obviously, he can have Boruto and Seikei, at the same spot, right? It's not possible because he spent more time with Boruto, but, yeah. Anyway, that whole scene was so fucking sad. Seikei saying how he envies Boruto, how he always wanted somebody to protect, and then he lists all the Akutas and Mitsuki, obviously. Like, it was very emotional. The soundtrack they played, not only that soundtrack, but the soundtrack they played at the start of the episode when Seikei was pissed, that was also great. I mean, the soundtracks throughout this episode were just gorgeous, and they were placed at a perfect time, I'd say. Yeah, overall, a beautiful episode, a truly beautiful episode, and beautiful writing. Anyway, Seikei is gone, and so is Kirara. Now, speaking of Kirara, we had a fight between Boruto, Sarada, and Kirara. We even saw Garaga after some time, and I really enjoyed that. We saw some character development for Garaga. He finally decides to trust humans again, although he hates to admit it. That's just, how his attitude is, and I enjoy Garaga's character. If you guys remember, he said that he will stick with Boruto. He said that he will actually kill Boruto if he fails to retrieve Mitsuki. I don't think he will. Even if hypothetically, like even if Boruto failed, I don't think Garaga would kill him. But they had that promise, and obviously, Boruto got Mitsuki back, and now Garaga is cooperating with him. They're fighting together properly. Still, they have some verbal arguments here and there, which I think is hilarious. But, that they worked as a team. Now, I wonder if Garaga is going to stay with Boruto after this arc because of the fact that we never saw Garaga in the manga. I'm not really sure about this, but wasn't there a deal like I'm staying with you until you get Mitsuki back or something like that. Maybe I'm tripping. Regardless of if I'm right or wrong, I just hope that Garaga stays, because obviously so far the Boruto anime adapted only one arc of the Boruto manga, the versus Momoshiki arc, and it expanded upon a lot of it. Like a lot of things were added. So yeah, the fact that Garaga wasn't in the manga up until this point, it shouldn't concern me this much. But still, I'm a bit concerned because I think that Boruto having Garaga is pretty cool. For those of you who don't read the manga, Urashiki Otsutsuki didn't even appear in the versus Momoshiki arc, in the manga. That tells you how drastic some of these changes can be. How drastic some of these new additions to the Boruto series could be. And in this case, it's Garaga. He never appeared in the manga, but maybe he stays with Boruto. And then when the anime adapts some of the, okay, I'm not gonna get into that. Let's get back to this episode. That was a cool fight. All these Akutas, fusing together and forming that huge thing. That was epic. In my Boruto episode 89 review, I talked about Sarada having so many great moments throughout the Boruto series, and it just continues. She defeated Kirara using Genjutsu. I thought that was cool, and she had a nice little speech there at the end about humans. Out of all Akutas, Kako, Kokuyo, Kirara, and Seikei, Kirara is my least favorite, but still I can understand all these characters because they don't really think that they have a will. They want to be more like humans, and because of that, but they don't want to really admit it. Apart from Seikei, he was the one who always pretty much, I don't know if he was directly saying it, but he, in this episode, it was obvious. He said that he wanted somebody to protect, just like humans, right? And he wanted a human heart. That's why Seikei is my favorite character. He was always trying to be more human, even though he was human, but he never saw it, which is the true tragedy of his character. But the thing is, Kirara is my least favorite Akuta, as I said, but I still enjoy her character. She was collecting all these human things just so that she could be more human, but I don't think she ever admitted she wanted all these beautiful things because, she just wanted to be more human. She lacked attention, and there's a huge tragedy within her character as well. And obviously, not only Kirara and Seikei, but Kokuyo and Kako as well. I enjoyed their characters as well. I just think that some of the writing in this arc was very unique, something that you don't see often in action anime, shonen, action anime, and I really appreciate this arc for all of that. Team 7 reunited at the end. It just put a smile on my face. Although when Mitsuki, when he came to Sarada and Boruto, I was still triggered for the fact that the writers didn't have Mitsuki cry, but still, it put a smile on my face when I saw them together again. So yeah, Ku pretty much killed the scientist. In my episode 89 review, I mentioned how humans can become greedy, how Ku became greedy, and he pretty much killed the scientist. He's becoming a monster at this point. He's probably gonna die either in episode 91 or 92, because these two are the final episodes of this arc. He's probably gonna die in episode 91, the final fight, and then episode 92 kind of closes the arc. But yeah, his character is also interesting. I can't wait to see his interactions with Onoki in the next episode. Excuse me. Seki and Onoki interacting together. I like Seki. I mentioned it in my episode 89 review. But Onoki pretty much said, I can't run away. So I wonder if he's going to die in the next episode. Fighting against Ku is going to be interesting. Will the Tsuchikage step into the fight? I don't know. But yeah. Anyway, guys, this episode gets a 10 out of 10 for me. It was truly a beautiful episode. Plot progression, super quick. Everything, all these episodes that we got in this arc, they're paying off. Mitsuki has his own, Mitsuki always had a will, but he pretty much realizes that he had a will. And I don't think I mentioned this, but when he was talking to Seikei, he obviously briefly mentioned that, what Ku is doing is wrong. And why am I bringing this up? Well, in my Boruto episode 89 review, I mentioned how Mitsuki pretty much said, "This is my will," but it was never specifically stated in the episode what it means. But really, you just have to think a little bit to understand that he actually saw that what these guys are doing is wrong, and because of that, he decided to go against them, even though he was like comrades with them or whatever. That's his will, but I think he specifically stated it in this episode when he was talking to Sekiei. He said that what Ku is doing is wrong. Sekiei couldn't really understand it at that point because, you know, when he saw Mitsuki betraying him, quote unquote betraying him, like he went crazy, and I understand that because, you know, Seikei developed a huge bond with Mitsuki. In the end, they were friends. Even though I'm kind of triggered that Mitsuki didn't cry, especially because of that detail from Boruto episode 80. I'm really triggered because of it. They're still friends, and still their goodbye was emotional. Mitsuki said, "We could fix you, we could get you back to Orochimaru or whatever." But Seikei died. Overall, a beautifully written episode, 10 out of 10 for me. That was your boy Tsuno Hokage. Twitter, Discord, Instagram, and Discord links are in the description. Instagram, Twitter, Discord, and second channel links are in the description of this video. That was your boy Tsuno Hokage. If you're new to this channel and if you're into the Boruto series, consider subscribing. And I'll see you in my next video. Bye.